What's up? What's up? It's time for Done Way Past Funny with your host, Sugar Ray. And G.D. Fenderson. Join us as we take a look back at the first time comedians took the stage with this week's guest, Tunnell. It's time to get down and get dope with Done Way Past Funny. Hi, I'm G.D. Fenderson, certified forensic humorist and host of Done Way Past Funny. This is part 3 of our 3-part interview with the very funny and very talented Tunnell. Enjoy.
Unbelievable. And conversely, the worst crowd I ever had was a Christmas party for Black folks for a company. Oh my God. It was just like, it was like, oh my God. I said penis, not dick. I said penis 3 times in different jokes. And she just couldn't take it. And the one joke was like, she sat around just like I had a penis right smack in my forehead.
Now, I probably makes a difference because where you placed the penis. Was it in the front of the joke, the middle of the joke, or the back of the joke? Because a lot of people don't want the penis in the back of the joke.
Yeah, no.
They want it. Let me stop.
No, but they weren't, it wasn't any offensive, but, rich Black folks are so tight ass that they didn't want to laugh. I'm like, the rednecks were fine. And then it was the Christmas season. So doing this for these Black folks, and they didn't like it. The next week I was doing a show at a Jewish synagogue. They loved it. They loved me. Oh, when you coming back? I had drinks. I had everything. They loved it. Them white Black folks were just like.
Now, what town was that in? The reason why I'm asking is because one of the worst experiences I had actually I wasn't a comedian, but I was a performer. And this room was like an Apollo type room, and they build it as such.
Right.
And so the audience reacted just like you see Apollo audiences do on on television.
Mm-hmm.
And so none of us got a chance to really do our thing, except for this one guy who is really annoying as hell. I can't remember his name, but basically all he did was an Eddie Murphy impersonation.
Yeah.
He came up wearing the red leather or vinyl, whatever the red leather suit.
Yeah,
and he does the Eddie Murphy's voice, and then he does Eddie Murphy's jokes. Okay, the jokes, word for word. So, and that's what they wanted to see. And I'm thinking to myself, you could have stayed home and watched the whole DVD.
Yeah, that was the stab wound, and bullet hole crowd.
So where was that? Where was that room that you were telling me about?
That was in a hotel conference room, and it was a Christmas party.
I meant where, like what town? Because I was trying to figure out the audience.
It was in Philadelphia.
Okay, because you mentioned earlier before that Philly, they like the blue collar type of comedy.
Yeah.
And was that the case? Was that
no? That was high city bougie Black folks, and they did not want me in there. And it's crazy because I don't do that kind of Black comedy often.
Right.
Everybody usually likes the kind of comedy I do. And they just did not at all. And then they tried not to pay me. So I'm sitting outside waiting an hour to get paid. and I mean, it was just ridiculous. It was at the they had a DJ who I knew, and he's seen me on stage before,
Right.
and he came out to me and just looked at me and was like, "What the hell, man?" You know, and I was like, "Dude, I have no idea what the hell just happened. It was ridiculous."
No, you know, oddly enough, because see, I don't, but I guess music and comedy and in some regards are similar. Uh, I mean, there's like good songs that pretty much go that can cross almost all musical
Conference,
taste.
yeah.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
not all, but a lot of musical taste. But
Mm-hmm.
and I guess there's some comedians that could do that as well. But a lot of times people kind of like break up the audiences into like the white audience and a black audience. And like,
Yeah.
even with tonight, you referenced like the the little redneck audience or the black audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, true, there are cultural differences.
Yeah.
Like if you get somebody raised in like the guy from West Virginia who'd never heard of Stevie Wonder,
Right.
but he liked the song and
Uh-huh.
he thought I performed it well and he liked my wording, but he
Mm-hmm.
didn't know who Stevie Wonder was, which would have made it, I guess, even funnier to him if he knew who Stevie Wonder was
Oh my
and knew
God.
the song, just enough for the city.
Yeah.
If you had to
Mm-hmm.
compare,
Yeah. That
so
that that just really makes me laugh. Who doesn't know who Stevie Wonder is?
never heard of Stevie Wonder.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and I get, I mean, I understand cultural differences, but I still get annoyed by, because having been a musician, when you perform a song, you don't think about the color, you just think about the notes and the music and stuff
Right.
like that,
Yeah.
and the audience, well, I mean, when I
They
do my
figure it
song,
out.
yeah, I do my
Yeah.
song parodies. I don't think about the fact that you know okay, like my favorite song parody is the one that for me to do is the one by the group called the Proclaimers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole world of people who've never heard of Proclaimers, and it's not even embraced. Sometimes if it's age, because I think the song was out in the '80s or
Mm-hmm.
something. But my wording and stuff and my performance makes it funny to those people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I just kind of like get annoyed that okay, make it personal now. The reason I get annoyed is because to me, there's a certain amount of disrespect for the audiences when people or bookers and comedians do that. There's I won't mention the man by name, but there's a black booker in our area, the DC, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania area, who wouldn't book me because he said I was too smart for his audience. He says I have a black room and you're too smart for my audience,
Yeah.
and they're not going to get you
Mm.
now. And I know he's sincere in that, in the sense. I mean, I'm not saying it's true, but I know he believes it
Yeah.
because he's.
Yeah.
I've
Because you know.
I've had him in the audience, when I performed, and he's like in the
Mhm.
back. And afterwards, one time he said to me, "Man, you're funny, but I swear I felt like I needed a thesaurus when you were telling your jokes, and I felt like you were like giving a lecture, and I should have been taking notes."
Oh wow.
You
That
know,
happened to a friend of mine. I have a friend from Philadelphia. He was funny. Nobody in Philadelphia. He didn't get any laughs in Philadelphia. I brought him down to DC,
mm-hmm.
and he killed the place. He kind of like he realized it is a different kind of intellectualism in Philadelphia and DC. You know, and they get what he does because he's a very intellectual guy. That's the guy who helped me figure out why I wasn't doing well with my speech.
Right,
So he's a young guy. He's in his probably in his late 30s now, but he knows everything. When I have a problem with anything, I can call him. He's one of those kind of guys. But he wasn't getting laughs with anything, and he came to DC with me. He's like, "Man, I should just move down here." if I can get laughs here, because there's a totally different. I don't say it's class. It's a DC is just different. Philadelphia, if you haven't lived in Philadelphia, you don't know what Philadelphia is like. It's
Well,
just
well, DC is also even if you don't want to be a part of the politics, being
yeah,
in DC, it's like you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a politician or
right.
one of his workers or aides.
Yeah.
And so,
Hmm.
invariably, it's going to be part of your normal conversation, whether you want to talk about it or not. You
Yeah.
know, you know, it's like if you're a farmer and you live out Midwest, you may not want to talk about corn, but eventually you're going to have to because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's DC in politics, and politics
Hmm.
touch everybody, even if they don't want to think about it. So you can you almost have to be. This is a different type of thinking
Yeah.
around there.
You really have to adjust what you're doing. And that's like when I do black rooms. It's like I got to change the way I dress, maybe wear a hat, just to get accepted by black rooms because they look at me. The first thing they say is like, "Oh, this guy's a nerd."
Yeah.
Then you hear the name Stan. Yeah, this guy's really. Oh, he talks like a nerd, and they tune me out. So it's tough to because you have to dig in so deep and be vulgar just to get their attention. To say,
You
okay,
see,
this guy's good.
now, and I hear what you're saying, and I know why people do that, but I refuse to do that. What I do, I mean, there are compromises. I mean, I don't throw off, like my uh, my I don't show off my vocabulary all the time, but
Hmm.
I I just tell them I talk like this. I mean, this is in a nutshell. I explain to them why I talk like this, and I don't sound like what you think a black man should sound like, even though you're a black man too.
Right.
You think I should sound like, if I'm not talking like the Chris Rock character from that the movie. How much for the just one nugget? No,
What read?
one
Yeah.
minute. Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
If I don't
Yeah.
talk like that, or if I don't talk like Pootie Tang, then I should be talking
Yeah.
like then I should be talking like Urkel or Carlton,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
and you can. So I explained to them that I talk like this because of the way my mother raised me,
Hmm.
But
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it's different because, like, even the 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 the, the material that you use, like, I
right,
mean, the younger comedians and even the women, all they're talking about, it's not even they're not talking about sex. They're talking about fucking,
right.
you know, and that's all they're talking about. And then I get on stage and it's like a totally different thing, you know? And it's like you have to really like I have to really dig in to get some do some jokes that I really don't want to do. Because like how many times can you hear a joke about roaches in your house? And it's like I'm really do I gotta do that kind of stuff. And I was at a place in Vegas and this guy, I'm 59. This guy had to be 75
Uh-huh.
doing jokes about fucking. I'm like, really, dude? Come on. And they're not Viagra jokes. Nothing about that. Like, come on, dude, really? That's what you're
maybe
doing
maybe he's advertising. Maybe his jokes or his way of doing it like a singles ad. He's just doing a commercial, and
now?
and this way he can do the commercial. It's like it's like being in radio, and the guy that the disc jockey is doing a commercial, between songs. It's like, and this segment is brought to you by Blistex, medicated lip ointment. So the guys up there
Yeah.
just talking about that's his commercial. His show is his
Hmm.
commercial, and then afterwards, if they want to, they can check out the product.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
you may be cock blocking them. he, think, he
Yeah.
thinks He thinks you're trying to hoard it on his actions, like that young 59-year-old over there trying to get my stuff.
But there's
I
a
got some. I got something for his young ass.
yeah. I have a tape on YouTube, the old school show, and it's a black crowd, and that's probably as I'm not only gonna say when I went low, but I knew it was a big back. I've been there to the show before, so I knew what kind of material I had to do to get these people laughing and having a good time. So I did those jokes, but I don't think that I can do that all the time. And one of my biggest jokes I had is the one that got stolen. The closer
Yeah.
got stolen.
Okay.
So I was like, I got to stop doing that. So I changed the last name to something better.
Right.
So yeah, so I haven't done it yet, but I did it. So it's gonna be good. But
Now,
it's kind of hard. Now go ahead, go ahead.
no, you brought it. You see, you've mentioned something. Two different things that remind me of this same story here. Um, before I was a comedian, there were people who actually thought I was funny, and I didn't. I didn't think I was funny, but they thought I
Mhm.
was funny. And it turns out that what it was is I was just being myself. I didn't think I was a comedian. I was just being myself, and they just found it amusing. So this one guy, this is I can't tell you when it was. I can just tell you what just happened. The movie DC Cab had been out for 2 weeks, and Michael Jackson's hair got caught on fire during a Pepsi commercial.
Oh, that was in '84, I think.
84. Okay,
Yeah,
well, see, I don't know the year. I'm just
yeah, I think it was
anybody else
'84.
can Google it. They can, and I'll maybe
Yeah.
I'll fact check myself later and
Hmm.
post it. But we'll say for 84. But I was not a comedian back then.
Okay.
So this guy, they had spent all of their money for this at Howard University for the real entertainment, and they said they needed a comedian. So he goes, I know somebody, and he can do a half an hour for us. Okay,
Oh wow.
well, like I said, I was not a comedian. I did not.
Mhm.
So, and I know Howard University is 98.9% black.
Right,
Yeah, Chocolate City is nothing compared to Howard University. Because
right,
Chocolate City is only like 67% black.
right. Hmm.
so chocolate, but Howard University is like pure cocoa.
Right. Yeah.
It's like no sweetener. So this is where I'm performing Howard University, and my friend Larry is he's a white guy, and he used to say to me, he goes, man, he goes, I don't know what you're doing here. He goes, it's kind of crazy. He goes, black people, you're not funny to black people. I said, what do you know? I'm the only black friend you have. You don't know what black people like. And
Hmm.
so I did my material on Scarface had also just come out.
Okay.
So I decided that I was going to be as professional as I could, and I was going to write a set, even though I didn't know anything
Hmm.
about being a comedian, but I did know that people like to hear me tell stories. So I said, okay,
Hmm.
I'm going to. Uh, I didn't have a lot of money to my name, so I said, okay, I could go see DC Cab, or I could go see Scarface, and I thought to myself, Scarface seems like the better movie. So I went
Hmm.
to go see Scarface, and I wrote all this material based on the movie Scarface. And I snuck a recorder in. I snuck a recorder into the movie so I could hear the voices. And I was working
Hmm.
on my impressions, so I had like the dialogue and the impressions down, and
Hmm.
then my own little spin on it, you know. And I constructed a Michael Jackson doll because this is when the Michael Jackson just he got his hair caught on fire.
Right.
So what it is, I bought a Black Ken doll. I don't know if his name was Black Ken or if he had another name. I don't know, but I had a Black Ken doll, and I made an outfit for him. It's the Thriller outfit. So
Okay.
I made Thriller clothes,
Hmm.
and I rigged it so that when I struck the back of my thumb on the back of his neck, the lighter would make his hair catch on fire. Okay, so I built this, and I'm on stage, and I go, anybody here seen the new Michael Jackson doll? And everybody's looking at it. They're like, wow, wow. And I said, I struck it, and it catches fire. The hair catches fire, and they turned on me because I had just mocked their god. You thought I'd have burned. You'd have thought I burned a cross in the middle of Howard University,
Uh-huh.
and all it was Michael Jackson's head. And that wasn't even a real Michael Jackson. Like I said, it was a black Ken doll. But as far as
Uh-huh.
they knew, from
Yeah.
the distance, that was a Michael Jackson doll.
Oh man.
And
Too
so,
soon.
so I decided I was going to try to win the audience back. And I said, how many of y'all saw Scarface? Nobody in the audience of like 300 people had seen Scarface. None. And I go, nobody saw Scarface? And I'm thinking, well, maybe they just don't want to admit it or something, and they don't understand
Uh-huh.
it. They can. And I said, oh, come on. I said, what did you go? I said, what did you go see? And I pointed at my guys, what did you go see? And he goes, DC Cab. And I went, DC Cab. I said, what kind of fucking moron would spend their money for a DC Cab? The entire audience
Oh God.
raised their hands
Oh
because
my
they all
God.
went to go see DC Cab. Probably got a group rate, but none of them had seen Scarface, and that was my materials on Scarface.
Right.
So I'm like, and the thing is, I mentioned because I told this to my friend Larry was telling me that I'm not funny to black people, and he says you're going to have to tell jokes about your ex-fiance. And I said, I'm not going to do that because that's all one-sided. They're only going to hear my side of the story. They're not going to hear her side of the story. And I'm not going to make people laugh at her expense, because she can't defend herself.
Right.
And meanwhile, I'm dying with the Michael Jackson doll. I'm dying with Scarface. And I look over at Larry, and he's mouthing my ex-fiance's name.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at him going like, not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And then after like 15, 20 minutes, which is an eternity on stage, I look over at Larry and I thought to myself, if these people riot, Larry is not going to make it out of here. I have to save my white friend because I brought him into Howard University. And so that's literally, and I started doing the ex-fiance jokes, and the plates just started rolling. It went from, like you mocked DC Cab, you mocked Michael Jackson. So we love the slutty whore jokes. We love, please.
And you know what is crazy about that? Kamala Harris was probably in the audience then.
Was she there around that time? Oh man,
She was at Howard at that time. Yes.
oh man, that's funny. she watched this like, I remember that, man. The way he disrespected his ex-fiance.
Yeah.
He should have just kept talking about DC Cab.
Man.
He should have kept talking about Scarface. I wonder what he's up to. I didn't even think. It never occurred to me there was actually a possibility that she would have been in the audience.
Yeah, she was at Howard then.
Man.
Wow. What's the best experience you had on stage once you started doing it professionally?
It's rough. It's rough for me to say, but the thing that stands out to me the most is the first time I headlined. And that's because I was not supposed to headline. When I started comedy in 2014, and I started comedy, and my favorite comedian at the time was Christopher Titus.
Okay.
And I'm saying at the time, he's still my favorite comedian. Well, I'm my favorite comedian. And then there's Christopher Titus. Because if I can't love me first, then why am I doing this? So I'm my favorite comedian, and then Christopher Titus. Although I will admit he's better than I am.
Okay.
I'll admit that. He's better than I am. He does much better than I do what I do.
Right.
But I'm still my favorite. He just had to learn to live with it. I'm still my
Right.
favorite. So, but I one of the things he did was he had a 90 he does 90-minute comedy specials, which
Mm-hmm.
most comedians don't touch.
Right.
They do the half-hour special, and if
Mm-hmm.
they're really bold, the 1 hour special.
Right.
So I said I've been doing comedy for like 2 weeks, and I said I'm gonna write a 90-minute special just like Christopher Titus. And so I started writing from that. Literally, I started writing my 90-minute special.
Mm-hmm.
About a year into me working on this, I'm featuring, and the headliner doesn't show up. He calls and says, I'm not going to be able to make it. The host is like frantic. He doesn't have a headliner now. He has like these four comedians or three comedians, you know, that are supposed to do like two of them supposed to do like 5 to 7 minutes, and I was the feature. I was going to do 15 minutes.
Okay.
And so he goes, can anybody here do a half an hour? I said, I can. And he looks at me, he goes, okay, a half an hour. I said, yeah, a half an hour material. Yeah, I can do that. And he looks at me, he goes, you're my headliner. Then he looks at the other two guys and he says, can either you do like 12 minutes, 50, no, nigga, like I could do 7. Like, oh. So the host had to do more heavy lifting because the other two
Right.
comedians, like, literally, only thing they've been working on was their 5 minutes.
Right.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for those of you in TV land who may not know this about the comedy world, one of the things they tell beginning comedians is that work on your first 5 minutes. And what, 6 months? And you stand, correct me anytime I'm wrong or like to
Okay.
say, spend 6 months working on your 5 minutes. Okay. And then you maybe like a year working on your 7 minutes, get it tight, blah, blah, blah. And,
Mm-hmm.
so 6 months in, I'd already been working. I've got like 40 minutes worth of material 6 months in,
Right.
but I don't have the stamina to perform for 40 minutes.
Right.
That's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Standing up there and telling jokes, having the material and being able to perform it are not the same thing.
Exactly.
So, but I've been practicing. So I had my 30 minutes of, well, I knew I had 20 minutes worth of leggings in me. I hadn't tried the 30 minutes yet. So I tell my wife, I said, baby, I'm the headliner tonight. And my wife is used to open mics. And Carol goes, oh God. I said, no. I said, I'm the headliner. See, because again, for the audience, if you don't know anything about open mics, what happens is sometimes there's enough time in the show for an open mic, well, let's say 90 minutes, and they have too many fucking comedians. And so
Yes.
the last comedian, the headliner, may wind up only getting 3 minutes
Right.
because they have a hard out for whatever reason. And they'll tell you, I know we told you 5, but you're going to do 3. And the guy before you just did 5. And so you're pissed off and you're cheated 2 minutes. It's one of the things I say about comedians.
Right.
I said, and I don't know if this is true for you, Stan, but I have been paid in food.
Oh yeah.
I've been paid in weed. Have you been paid in weed yet?
Not yet.
Okay, I've been paid in weed. I've been paid in edibles. I have been paid in alcohol. Now, I don't drink alcohol when I'm
Mm-hmm.
performing, so I will give those drinks away. And I have been paid in cash.
See,
Okay,
I have not been paid for some shows.
that's what I'll say. Yes, and I've been yes, and I've
Mm-hmm.
done tons of show pro
Yeah.
bono. And
Mm-hmm.
I would rather do a 1 hour show for free than for me to show up to do a 10-minute show and then you cut off 2 of my minutes. Okay, don't cut my fucking minutes. And that's what my wife heard when I said I'm a headliner. She goes, oh God, and she's just thinking I'm going up last and I'm not going to get to do my full 15 minutes.
Right.
And I said, no, baby, I'm the headliner. I'm doing 30 minutes. And she looks at me and she goes, do you have 30 minutes? I said, of course I got 30 minutes. You think I would tell the guy that I can do 30 minutes? I'm not going to make us look bad just because I want to do 30. I said, no, I got 30 minutes. I can do this. And because the host didn't know if I could do 30, he
Right.
was just desperate. He needed a headliner. My
Mm-hmm.
wife had never seen me do 30, and she'd been to like every open mic, and the most she'd ever seen me do was 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 3 sex acts. No, I mean, no, she said the most she'd ever seen me do was 12 minutes worth of comedy. That's it.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's the most I'd ever done on stage, but I practiced at home doing 30 minutes or so.
Right.
And I did so fucking well that I went back, that they had me headline 4 more weeks.
Oh,
You know,
wow. Cool.
I did 5 out of 6 weeks
Oh, that's cool.
headlining there.
That's cool.
Um and so that's what, and so that, and the other moment like that is I was supposed to do an hour. I was headlining. See, and that's the other thing. That's what started my problems. See, I wasn't supposed to be headlining yet. Not according to the
Mhm.
strict structure of
Yeah.
comedy. At that point in time, 1 year in, I'm not a headliner. At 1 year in, I'm supposed to be working on 10 minutes or some bullshit,
Right.
imaginary thing. And so I've rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because, again, I'm a prolific writer. Am I supposed to stop writing jokes? Because
Exactly. It comes.
I can't.
It works. It comes down to the writer.
Yes.
You know, and you can't. There's no scheduled time for you to get on stage if you can write.
Yes.
No, that's the difference. And we have similar paths because I was doing a show. I was doing the feature of a show. I was a
Mm-hmm.
feature. 30 minutes. I had a solid 22 minutes, but I'm supposed to do 30. Okay, solid. I was solid. I'm like, okay. I can try a couple new jokes and see if they go well. We'll see what happens. The headliner drank 7 double shots of Hennessy
Mm-hmm.
before the show.
Mm-hmm.
Gets on stage 5 minutes in, falls off the stage, drunk. And I'm looking like, oh shit. Headliner comes, the promoter comes to me, hey, you're my headliner. I'm like, I've done my 22 minutes. There's nothing left in the game. I can't do it. So I got on stage and talked about him falling down drunk the rest of the time. That was what my experience as a pseudo headliner. But my first headliner job was in my hometown,
Mm-hmm.
and I was excited to do it, and then I was terrified
Right.
because I'm there. My family, I have a family that they don't come out to support you. They come out. They come out so they can go back and talk about you when you messed up. That's what my family does, right? So my family and my friends are there, and I'm watching these guys going on, and they are hilarious. The host was Stephen Bobbier, a good friend of mine, was hilarious. All the comedians were good. This guy's doing a guest spot before me, and he is killing it. Then I was like, oh, and then it hit me like, wait a second, all these people here to see me. I'm supposed to be the best comedian. I am freaking out. Like, oh my God. But it went well. And the best compliment I've ever got in comedy was after the show, there was 2 white ladies there that were I was in my early 40s. They were in the late 50s probably. And they came up to me and were like, well, we've been coming here every week, and we see all these black people here. We didn't know what to expect, and this, that, and the other. But she's like, you talked about black people, you talked about white people evenly. It was a great show. And then
So
her,
here,
her
like, she had like a scorecard. Okay, there's a black joke, a
yeah,
white joke,
yeah,
black
and then
joke, white joke, black joke,
yeah,
white joke.
and then her girlfriend came up to me and said, "I love the way your mind works," and they were the best compliments I've ever gotten doing comedy. And
Now, Oh, go ahead.
No, I was like, and it was just that's what I shoot for when I do comedy show, for everybody to get to what I'm saying,
Right.
and to have a good time laughing at it, black or white, it doesn't matter.
Stan, thank you for doing this, man. I appreciate you sticking around and hanging out with me, and being patient. And let the people know how they can stalk you on social media.
It's my pleasure, GD. You can hit me on Facebook at Stan Tunnell. Tunnell is Tunnell. Tunnel with the extra L. GD, man, I thank you, bro.
All
Love
right,
you.
man. Thank you. Funny, I my favorite compliment that I've ever gotten was from another comedian who is affiliated with a comedy club. And after this was my second DVD, he was there for my second DVD. When the show was over, when he was leaving, he goes, "Man, um you are oh damn it, you are deceptively damn it, I can't remember. You are deceptively, no, de- de- deliriously, damn it, I can't remember the word. It starts with a D, but it's just you're like deceptively, no, you're like devilishly creative and hilarious. But the D word is very. Oh, I got. He says you're disturbingly creative. You're disturbingly creative and hilarious. That is my
Uh,
favorite compliment because I don't know, the fact that it's like disturbingly creative.
right.
And another one was I was. This is just and I was at an open mic, and there was one of the comedians in the audience posted to Facebook, to his Facebook page while I'm performing. He goes, "I'm watching GD Fenderson. This has got to be the most original routine I've ever seen in my life."
Oh, cool.
He goes, and it's like funny. And so that guy became like, I think I screen captured that, and
Hmm.
then I lost it because, like 3 phones later,
Yeah.
you know, but but
Hmm.
then it came up in the memory. Facebook has the memories.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
posting, because it mentioned me, it came up in
Came
the
up in his
memory, and I
memory.
said, "You damn right, I'm saving it this time."
Yeah.
Wow, it's like, but that's the fact that while I'm on stage, he's posting about me on stage and saying
Yeah.
how original I was. Uh,
Cool. That's real cool.
and see, and here's one last one. 'Cause now you got me. It's like a river now. It's like there's there was a teacher in Israel, and he was teaching English as a second language, and he was using material from my first DVD to teach in his class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, he was, because of the way I used the English language, that he was using me as an example. It's like, don't
Hmm.
do this. When you're talking in the street, do not do this. Because there was a lot of wordplay that
Hmm.
just like the word I used the phrase I said, I referred to a cunning linguist, you know,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
stuff like that,
Uh-huh. Right.
or there's a routine I did about trees that don't give shade, and I was talking about when my family went not Jeopardy, Family Feud. My family auditioned for Family Feud with a
Hmm.
bunch, like, it's not nothing special. Any family can do it. You see the thing and you go, okay, we'll show up. You register, and there's like 300 families there. Not 300. There's like 50. It was 50 families there. 300 people.
Hmm.
So it's not special. Well, I guess you to be special to be one of the 50 because the 51st family is sitting outside cussing because like we can't get in. I told you if you just made a left turn at Green Street, we could have made it. So, so and I made up the not Jeopardy, the Family Feud question was and you can always look it up on my DVD, guys. If you not, I'm not talking to you, Stan. I'm talking to you, audience. You can look it up. It's called "My Parents Meant Well," and it's on YouTube for free. And I go, name a tree that does not give shade. It's like so it's like family tree. It's okay. Name a tree that does not give shade. Money tree. Name a tree that does not give shade. Dentist tree. And so, and of course, dentist is like, well, there's those things as
Right.
dentistry. And then
Right.
the last one is name a tree that does not give shade. It's like country. Unless, well, maybe it doesn't have to be a tree. It could just be a big bush. And so this kind of that stuff with the language that he's like
Uh-huh.
teaching young Arabic kids in Israel English.
Right.
So that so when I got that email that they were doing that was a big deal to me.
Yeah, that it should be.
So
That's really cool, man.
yeah, so it's funny because I've gotten some a lot of compliments that I don't understand. You understand, like people they'll or you understand it, but it's for the wrong reason. Like I'll do like a 40-minute show, and some guy will go like, "Man, you're like George Carlin," and I'm like, "Yeah, for like 3 minutes." For like 3 minutes, I was like George Carlin,
Mm-hmm.
Or someone's like, "Oh man, you're like Richard Pryor." I said, "Yeah," for like 45 seconds, I was like Richard Pryor, and so
Yeah.
but they're grabbing the wrong the wrong thing
Yeah.
and making it, and so
Yeah. I did a show in Fredericksburg, and Tony Woods had just been there the week before.
okay.
And a guy comes up to me after the show, dude, you are absolutely the best comedian that's ever been here. And I'm like, yeah, okay, thank you, but I know that's not true. Tony Woods was here. No, but you were fun. You're better than Tony Woods. I'm like,
Well, I can see now.
oh, that.
Okay. In your defense,
Even I'm sure his crowd work is funnier than what I do.
well, see, what I'm saying because I don't, because sometimes if there's a guy I worked with, and in the lunchroom, I used to work with, and in the lunchroom, I'd have him rolling on the floor laughing. Again, my comedy is not much different than having a regular conversation with me.
Exactly.
There's so little difference except for when I'm on stage, I am consciously, trying to make points, and make social commentary from time to time. And in a regular conversation, it's just I'm not focused. It's not as focused, So I had
Right.
him like cracking up every day at lunchtime, crack up, cracking up. So when I record my first DVD, I give him more copy, because I said, well, he thinks I'm funny. I'll give him the DVD, and he watches it, and then for 2 weeks he doesn't talk to me, and I'm trying to figure out why he's not talking to me. We see each other at lunch every day, 5 days a week. So
Mm-hmm.
for 10 days we see each other. He doesn't talk to me. We're working together, and he doesn't talk to me. And when he talks, he's using a minimal amount of words, as if he opens his mouth, the words "you suck" are going to just slip right on out. He's like, I can't open. I don't want to say anything like "you suck." So
Mm-hmm.
I saw, and I know, and when I give somebody a DVD, when I know someone watches my show, I never ask them what they think.
Mm-hmm.
I never want to put someone in a position to feel like they're going to hurt my feelings because they don't know they can't hurt my feelings,
Right.
and they may try to spare my feelings and say something disingenuous. I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather you be honest, 4 years
Right.
later, and not like it than to lie to me.
Right.
Um, so after a while, he says to me, um, I'm sorry, I just didn't know how to tell you this, but I didn't like your DVD. I said, okay, no sweat. He goes, oh, thank God. He goes, man, I thought you was gonna hate me. I thought you was gonna hate me. I said, no. He goes, I'm sorry, it's just that I like slapstick. No, but which is funny to me because I don't do slapstick in the lunchroom.
Right.
I'm just telling stories, but the only thing is that in the lunchroom, it's about work.
Exactly.
And so he hears me making fun of people at work, and he thinks that's great.
Right.
But my actual show was like, I don't know any of the people he's talking about. His mother, who's that?
Yeah.
I don't know his
Mm-hmm.
mother. His sister, who's that? I don't know his sister. I don't know his
Yeah.
cat. You
Mm-hmm.
know. So no, and that's I just brought that up because he, like I said, likes me. He likes me. He thinks I'm funny, but didn't like my DVD.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just thinking of the guy who thought you were funnier than Tony Woods. I was just thinking like maybe he just liked the more. Again, I don't know I don't know that Tony Woods. I didn't know who Tony Woods was until I was in an open mic, and he walks in, and all the other comedians are genuflecting. I mean, the only thing they didn't do was get out and just give him a blowjob in the middle of the thing.
Right.
And you're like, it's Tony Woods, it's Tony Woods, it's Tony Woods. And I'm going like, who's Tony Woods? Is that Tiger Woods' brother? I don't know. I don't know. Who's Tony Woods?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, he's like, he taught Dave Chappelle. And that's what they're, that's what said. That's what he's like, he taught Dave Chappelle how to be Dave Chappelle. And I'm like, okay.
No,
So who's Tony Woods? Because I know who Dave Chappelle is. I've seen
uh-huh.
Dave Chappelle. I said, so if he taught Tony Woods, why? It'd be like someone saying, who's that guy there? That's Dr. J. He taught Michael Jordan everything. Not that Dr. J taught Michael Jordan, but
Right.
but
Mm-hmm.
but I knew who Dr. J was.
Right.
I didn't know who Tony Woods was, and everybody else. And as a result, when he walks in, I'm treating him just like I would treat any other person,
Mm-hmm.
which is not bad. It's just you're
Right.
not special. You're every other
Right.
person. I like you the same
Exactly.
amount as I like that guy over there who only knows 4 jokes, and 3 of
Mm-hmm.
them are about his dick. I like you both the same.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so but everybody else is talking about they've done like the USO shows they've done with him. He's traveled around the world, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
still waiting to see this guy, and I never saw that Tony Woods.
Okay.
So I don't know him, and I'm pretty sure what happens is there are going to be people from my neighborhood who are Tony Woods fans who are going to go watch us and say and without getting the context, say I badmouth Tony Woods. I'm not badmouthing Tony Woods. I
You
just
just
don't
don't know.
know
Okay.
that
Right.
Tony Woods.
Mm-hmm.
No.
He's a great storyteller. There's a guy in DC named Danny Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, I think he might be. I put him close to Richard Pryor in his storytelling because
Okay,
he's so creative.
so he's almost as good as I am. Go ahead. No,
Yeah, his storytelling is just amazing. Like he's so good with his storytelling that you can steal one of his jokes, do it right in front of him, and then he goes up and he still get more laughs than you did the way he tells the story.
right.
And it's just amazing. He used to do. He has this 9-minute bit, which is unheard of, and you're laughing through the whole thing. And then when he gets to that punchline, you're crying. You're just crying. And he and Tony Woods are very similar with the way they do their jokes. And then there's a guy named they call him. His name is Tommy McMillan. He calls himself Tommy Too Smooth. Ever
Mm-hmm.
get a chance to see him, and all anybody else in the audience, if you ever get a chance to see him, you got to see him.
Now, are these guys by chance DC Fat Doctor
Yeah,
that RT?
Danny Williams and Tony Woods are in the DC area,
Yeah,
and
well, I know Tony's DC here, but I didn't know if he was I know he was like Fat
no,
Doctor.
no, I don't think he's with Fat Doctor. No, I don't think he is. But if you see Tommy Too Smooth, I don't throw the word comedic genius around a lot. I've only know two: my mentor and Tommy too smooth. Tommy does.
That hurts. That hurts. You've been working with me for how long now? No, I'm just
Yeah, but
teasing.
I haven't seen. I
I'm
haven't
just
seen it. But
come on, the things I didn't do
Tommy,
on Sunday, that wasn't genius. Oh,
that,
come
yes,
on.
it was. But
Oh, come on. That was
Tommy,
all improv, baby. Oh,
Tommy
that was
does.
70%
Yeah,
improv.
Tommy does like 30 characters
I was
with it
only paid to
all.
do one. That's not fair.
Yeah,
That's
but
like I was only paid to do one
yeah,
character.
but you were paid. Oh my
Well,
god!
no, I'm being polite.
Right, but Tommy
The
has like
work is
30
its own
characters.
reward.
Yeah, Tommy has 30 characters, all with an hour of material of them. And if you ever see this show, I did the old school show that I was
Hmm.
talking about earlier.
Right.
Tommy did an hour with only 20 minutes of material. And he did an hour just improvising. And it was just hilarious. And what he does when he does it, when he gets into a character, he goes out dressed as the character. And I think that's ingenious. Like he says, was it Fat Meat Freddy or something like that? He wears a fat suit and everything, and he takes all the abuse and everything and puts it into the character, and he builds it. And he's brilliant with the way he does it. Kevin Hart wrote about him in his book. You know, saying about the way he does characters, and uh, and I'm not disparaging you
No,
because
that's okay. No,
you
that's
do
okay. No,
no,
it's all right.
but
It's okay.
you
The damage is done. No,
no
I'm just
because
kidding. No,
no
I'm
because
just
you
teasing.
do no. I told you do. I can't do what you do. I can't. I can't do that. And I haven't. I love character driven comedy, but I can't do it, and I can't do those voices either. I wish I could do voices, and because it's easier for comedians that can do voices.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
because you
here's a
don't
fun.
want.
Now here's a. There was a. I was working with Craig Gass, and he does voices for I think American Dad, and and another um, cartoon on television. I can't remember the thing. And I asked him because during his routine, doing his show, doing his act, he routinely does impersonations. And
Mhm,
I never worked with an impersonator before. So I
mhm.
asked him, I said, okay, here's the deal. I said, the character you just did, and I can't remember it was like he did Gene Simmons from Kiss and maybe Robert De Niro, something like that.
Yeah,
And he said, he did that same voice. Let me see. Uh, we were in Baltimore a couple of days earlier. We were in Annapolis. He did the same character, but it's two different sound systems and two different, and you could hear people sound different. I
right.
said, but when you do your voice, you make Robert De Niro sound like Robert De Niro in both places. I said,
Mhm.
so do you consciously? I said, because the bass is different, the treble is different, the reverb is different, the timbre is different. I said, so are you aware of that? And when do you make that adjustment to make so that the audience hears Robert De Niro and
Mhm.
not just some guy trying to do Robert De Niro? Because
Right,
it doesn't work if the audience doesn't hear it.
right.
And so I asked him, I said, so when do you make that adjustment? How do you, and he goes, I don't know. No one's ever asked me that before. He goes, now I got to think about it. I wonder if I ruined him. All of a sudden, he starts thinking about the mechanics because that screwed
Uh-huh.
me up. That has screwed me up on stage. I start thinking about the mechanics of what I do, and then I start screwing
Yeah.
up. And basketball, you played sports,
Mhm.
and the best thing in sports is to get where you don't have to think about it.
Right.
The worst thing in sports is when you have to start to think
Think
about it.
about it.
Yes.
Definitely. Definitely.
And I hate to think that I did that to him, and even for just one show where he just
See that? See,
couldn't find his voices.
You had him walking down the street at night, kicking cans, trying to figure out what he was supposed to do. Oh man, that poor guy.
I should reach out to him and ask him now because I mean he's like I said, he's famous and I'm just me, but he used to respond to my text when I ask him a question. But I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna reach out to him and ask him and see if he's ever figured it out. He says, "Thanks. It took me a year in therapy to get my mojo back. You bastard." Now I'm thinking about it again. Lose my DMs. Don't
Yeah,
ever
true.
Now you had asked me how long this was going to run. I said about 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see the clock, but we're approaching 2 hours.
Oh wow, 2 hours. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Now what we do is I break this down to like 30-minute segments. So it'll probably be like 3 30-minute segments, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
When it goes up. But but this is how long. I mean, you're okay when you asked me how long, and I said 90 minutes. I mean, you're okay? Did you have something that you need to do, or?
No, I'm okay.
All right.
I was just gonna go see Avatar, but I can see it tomorrow.
Avatar, really? No, I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's early there. You're on Vegas time.
That's right. It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it's after midnight for me.
Yeah, I know.
By this time, I'm getting ready for my second pee. Usually, yeah. By this time, I'm usually getting up for my second pee of the night. Oh man, I appreciate you doing this with me.
Oh man, this is good.
Is there anything that you want to get out there? Anything you want to talk about real quick that we didn't discuss? Like you said, I was hoping he'd ask me about that, and I didn't.
No, I didn't come in with any expectations. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. No, that doesn't.
Yeah, no,
I know. I got you.
I didn't have.
Sometimes people like once you start to think about, it's like, oh man, I'd love to talk about that because that's how my brain works half the time. If you don't shut me up, you won't get a chance to talk. And that was the reason why I wanted a co-host, was just someone who I would go, you're going to stop me from talking, right?
Right.
No, oh, you're not. Damn. Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, look, I appreciate you hanging out with me, and remind the people where they can find you.
Okay, they can see me on Facebook, Stan Tunnell, Tunnell, Tunnel with the extra L. You got me there.
Now, and if you book him, if you manage to book Stan Tunnell, you don't put that extra L on there, he is not going to cash your check. I'm telling you now. So I'm telling you now, if you book him and you pay him with a check, you better put both L's on there, or he's not going to cash it. He's just going to sit there and let it. He's got a dresser full of checks that he has not cashed for 20 years.
Okay, JGD is mine. If you send that check without the L, I will put the other L on it. Don't worry about it.
Either get the hell out of here. Telling those lies. Stan Tunnell, I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, bro. Take it easy, man.
All right, later.
All right, later.